Ladies, gentlemen and all variations thereupon, I have been tasked with creating a Halloween costume for my niece. And as she's too young to decide what she wants to wear for Halloween herself, me and my sister-in-law have both decided that she's going to be Pebbles this year. Now before I go into this, I just want you to ask yourself, what colour is Pebbles' costume? You see, there's apparently two variations on Pebbles' costume. There's a green one and there's an orange one. So I'm going to go with the orange one, but there is a green one, and I remember seeing the green one once I've seen the image of it, but I don't remember it ever actually being in the show. I guess it's just a Mandela effect or something. Anyway, it's orange fabric. I went and got a half metre of fabric. It's 1.5 metres wide, but I'm just going to use the half metre and we're just going to fold it in half so that the length of the fold at the front is the same length as the front of the child, which I don't actually have it here, so I'm a bit of guesswork on this. And then we're going to cut along the bottom and just have it folded over the top, sewn up the sides. It's going to be that simple. So join me and we're going to go through it. So what I've ended up with is this. It's just a rectangle with a little head section cut out of it. Now, my trick with children's clothing is I always leave enormous seam allowances at the side because kids tend to grow quick, and if you've got a large seam allowance on, you can just unpick the side and then sew it up again, but make it a little bit shorter of a seam allowance, and it makes the garment a little bit wider then, so you can get more wear out of it. She's probably only going to wear this once because it's a Halloween costume, but in case she ever wanted to wear it again when she's a bit older or something like that, or she just wants to play in it, then it gives me the option of being able to size it up for when she grows. So I'm going to leave fairly large seam allowances on. But before I sew this up, what I want to do is get the triangles on it, because it's going to be a lot easier to sew those little triangles that Pebbles has all across her dress, a tunic top, when it's flat and I can open it out, because if I've got it sealed up and it's in two halves like that, it's a lot harder just to get through the machine. So let's switch over from the orange material now to the black, and we'll cut out some triangles that are then going to sit on the front of that. You know when you're having one of those days where everything that possibly could go wrong does go wrong? Well, I was dealing with a thread jam from this, so I wasn't really focusing on what I was doing, and I accidentally sewed up all the way down the side of the sleeve, so now apparently my niece doesn't have arms. So I'm going to have to unpick the top of that just to put armholes back in. But basically you get the gist of what it's like. That's the Pebbles outfit, front and back, with different styles of triangular sort of shapes on there. What I'm going to do, rather than hem up the edges, partly because it makes it easier on myself, but partly it gives more of a stone edge effect, I'm going to use the prinking shears along the edge of the fabric, so along the hem at the bottom and along the armholes once I've cut them in, and the head hole as well. So let me sort out my mistake by putting armholes back in, and then we'll prinking shear the bottom bit. Right, so the top's done now, and the bottoms are sort of like just a big black nappy that she seems to be wearing on the cartoon. But obviously I can't just make her a black nappy, so I've got to put something to put over there, which is kind of awkward because you don't know what size the nappy is, because I don't know what nappies they've brought. So what I'm going to do is put an elastic around the top so that it gives a little bit more, flexibility, and you just hold it in place. There's not going to be any elastic around the leg holes because it's just going to be something that goes over the top of a nappy. It's not going to be a functional thing, at all. And to be honest, with the length of the top that I've made, you're probably not even going to see it anyway. So I don't have a piece of black fabric that's long enough that other than things I've already got planned for other bigger dresses. So I'm going to have to put it on scrap. So this is going to have to be done in 2 parts because I don't have one piece of fabric that's long enough. So it's going to be in 2 parts, a front and a back, and then we're just going to sew them together. Basically, this is just going to be a basic underpants pattern. And so there we are, that's the bottoms, which is just going to cover the nappy, so it's got a bit of stretch on the top, elasticated, so it will pull in a little bit and stretch out a little bit as well. I've got a bit of a problem now though, because I normally like to do sort of a dramatic showing of the thing at the end, and I've also got to get a thumbnail done. But the problem is, I'm not going to exploit my niece by having a show up on film and just taking photos of her wearing the outfit. But I think I've come up with a plan that's very appropriate, since as it's a child's Halloween costume, let's have it modelled by the child. As Grogu is demonstrated here, I might need an extra triangle in the centre there just to fill it out a little bit. The armholes are slightly small, I think, but probably... So that's the costume. Let's take it off and then I'll show you properly. See what I mean with the bottom, where it's been with the prinking shears and it looks more rough and ready, but even though that is actually a finished seam, so it's not going to shed everywhere, but having it like that does make it look more Stone Age, more sort of thing that cavemen would wear. And so that's a completed costume. I think that went quite well. There is one more piece to it, which is the bone that she has in her hair, and I made a short about that last week, and it's up here if you want to see it. The reason I haven't included it in this costume showing now is because through the magic of not filming things in sequence, I am actually halfway through doing that build at the moment, so we've got a bit of a break between the two. But click up here to see the short on how to make the bone, and if you want to see something else I've made, then that video down there is selected by the algorithm just for you. Oh, and if you click up here, you can subscribe, and I'll see you next time.